Good afternoon, another update today as we don't have an interview coming today unfortunately, but we can actually discuss a few altcoins today as we've not been covering it too much, so this video will just be about Cardano and Zilliqa as these two are still looking fine for bullish continuation. And you can see that on social media the sentiment is flipping a little bit towards some bullish flavor already. And the more Bitcoin is going to crawl up, you will see the more people becoming bullish and feeling FOMO again. And the more Bitcoin is going to stabilize and crawl back up, the heavier the altcoins will start moving, given that they have thin order books, illiquid, and also FOMO will draw them even higher. And some altcoins have been doing that already, the rest has to follow, especially given the fact that some of them are delaying updates because of the bad sentiment. So let's get to the charts with Cardano and Zilliqa. But before I'm going to do that, do not forget to subscribe beneath and also like this video and comment if you want to see some special content on this YouTube. Let's get to the charts. And the first one I've got on here is Cardano against Bitcoin. And when you look at this chart in a technical perspective, you can actually see that we are having a bullish structure here. You can actually compare the structure to the breakout that we've had in May 2020. We've had a massive breakout, retest of this order block, consolidation and continuation. But the more important part in this construction is that the critical resistance at 890 sats and the critical support at 830 sats are holding. Which means that you get a compression, and after such a compression, the breakout and the flip, and in this case we broke above 890 and we started to continue. That is the trigger for continuation. But if you look at the structure over here, we can see that we are also at critical levels. And we have a few levels that are critical to hold for Cardano for continuation. We did see that we had this impulse in the beginning of this year, corrective move, consolidation, also compression between the levels, in which the critical breaker was 2400 sats. This critical level broke, continued, flipped, and we saw a new impulse wave, after which we retested the previous high and now we start to consolidate, because then you're going to make that compression. Critical resistance is this entire block that we have here, which is very familiar to Ethereum, which is also on a critical resistance right now. The critical support zone on the low is the level between 4000 and 4250 sats. If that area is going to hold, I think we're going to have continuation, as then you will be having a build-up like we are seeing here in the beginning of this year. What are the targets? Well, the best way to do that is through Fibonacci extension. This is the 1 and the high, this is the 0 and the low, and you can reassure yourself or measure that the next 1.618 Fibonacci and 2.618 Fibonacci levels are at 6300 sats and 8200 sats, which could result in a Cardano above $3. So when we look at Cardano against USDT, the concept of critical levels holding and becoming a buy level is still valid here. So you can see that I've got all those squigglies, but I'll just erase it and then we go through the chart. You can see that every of those blocks are just valid for support. So this is a very important area that we wanted to hold. But more importantly, during this period you can see higher low, this small block becomes support, higher low, this block becomes support. You see that the wick is beneath, but the close is actually above the area that we wanted. Breakout to the upside, then the next critical area for support becomes this one. We can see that we hold, we close above, and now we can adapt towards the next area, which is just barely higher, but it's granting us a new higher low. So given that we are making these higher highs and higher lows constantly, you want to see that we're getting a break into the upside again from this area. So this is a buy zone for me. If this is lost, this construction, I might be looking for a scalp towards here and then reevaluate how the trade is going to develop. If we look at the 4-hour time frame, we can see that we are in a critical construction of resistance or range bound, but it is very familiar to everything in the markets right now. If we break this entire area at $1.85 and if we break the breaker at $2, that is the moment that we can start accelerating towards new highs once again. What is the level that we should be watching? Well, you can do the exact same thing as with the Bitcoin pair, you can draw the Fibonacci extension with the 1 here and the 0 there, and then you can derive targets at $3.35 and $5 in the next impulse wave. But you should realize that once it gets there, it's not becoming an entry point. You have to get into the entry when nobody is actually discussing it or expecting that to happen. Another one that we have to discuss is our friend Zilliqa. Also, the concept of critical levels can be seen here, in which we can see that this one is holding, after which critical level of support is holding once again, which is the area around 230 sats. This granted us a bounce to the upside, so we can see that we've had this bounce to the upside like the scenario has given us. So this entire region between 380 sats and 410 sats is critical to break for Zilliqa if we want to have any continuation at all. So that is currently the construction that we are acting in between, and you can see that we've also got an additional level that has to become support in order to sustain momentum. So we have discussed the topic of critical support levels. There's another one here. That is basically the previous high, but it became support afterwards, so this recent low should be holding in order to have another test to the upside. So in that case, we probably get something like this, and then we can start breaking out because you're building up pressure. If that happens, I'm going to target the following levels. This is the 1 again, this is the 0, and the next target zone can be found around 600 sats, and the second one around 800 sats. You can see that I already have a line in this area, granting us a probably around 3x move on the USDT value of Zilliqa as well. So if we add the 100 day and 200 day MA for Zilliqa 2, you can see that we're still acting above the 200 day MA. We might still be dropping beneath the 100 day MA to test this level, but if we get this construction above the 100 day and 200 day MA and we break to the upside, we are getting very comparable to what Aave has been doing during the period that we had in 2020. So it's still very comparable to the construction that we see here on Aave. I think Zilliqa is still at that stage in which Zilliqa is also eager to make a very big breakout and to test these levels here, potentially even going towards all-time highs in the Bitcoin pair too, because we barely even saw them moving at all yet. So I'm expecting that Bitcoin is going to consolidate. Some critical levels Bitcoin has to break. Check out the update of earlier this morning, in which you can see what levels I'm expecting to see for Bitcoin. This is the update for Cardano and Zilliqa. Can they go 3x from here? Probably. Can Cardano go to $5? Could be. We'll just have to see how Bitcoin is going to go and how these critical levels are going to last. I'll see you again tomorrow with a new market update and live stream, and do not forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel.